We've got some folks to shoot, some citizens to star, eh?
Yeah, we do. We're gonna do some things tonight.
Yeah. So tell me what we've kind of talked a little bit about the plans for today. What do you have on the docket, on the schedule?
We gotta get you your missions, but I can't find them for you. You have to find them and then share them with me.
Right.
So for the mission side of things, we're gonna be doing that tonight. But it's kind of like I think as a backdrop, because I shared with you some information about an interesting bit of information that just came out. And I kind of primed my audience a bit about it. I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk to you informally about it, not as some kind of video, just to kind of like throw around some ideas, because it's rather raw news and I'm not quite sure how to interpret it, and I think I need an expert opinion to really make any kind of video on it.
Well, I'm not going to be an expert opinion, I'll tell you that much, but I am...
No, I know. Neither of us are experts, so it's hard to make...
Hey man, don't insult me. I'm a huge expert on this. What are you talking about?
Oh, you're a financial and accounting expert.
Yeah,
I see. Well,
I do everybody's taxes. Yes. TurboTax hates me. No, I'm happy to discuss some interesting information, and I bet chat is excited to hear about some Morph exclusive. Pretty
well,
cool.
It doesn't come from me. It comes from a member of the community who sent it to me. So I can't take credit for the information. It's actually public information. I think I'm not going to be the only person to talk about it.
We'll call it an Armco find, at least in this part of the community.
There was this financial report that came out of the UK, because in my audience you kind of know this, but I'll brush over it quickly. There's a regulation that requires companies to report their financials publicly, and there's a website that you can check it on the UK. And this is only for CIG in Manchester, that portion of the company, so it's not the entire financial report. But in it, there was disclosed some interesting information. There was an audit, and I don't want to sensationalize this information. It's not like some revelation or something. It's not like that. By the way, you do need to share this mission with me if you.
Oh yeah. I gotta do that.
Because I'm just kind of floating around.
There's the whole game part. You'll probably have to fly over here for that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Isn't it priority?
Anyway, so, I think it'll be. I think it's priority, yeah.
All right, I probably have to wait a little bit then. On your screen.
Yep. Anyway, so the financial report came out. It's a really long, very difficult to read report. There's a lot of information in it. Not all of it is, well, basically the report comes out as like, CIG's fine. They're going to be okay for, this is for 2022, so it'd be from 2022 to 2023. But they point out some interesting information that we actually, if you've been following Star Citizen for a while, would have already known. And that's concerning its private investment. If you guys may recall, and I believe, Tomato, you probably covered this on your channel, that there was a private investment from the Calders. You remember the total amount that was? Was it like 60 million or something like that?
I forget. 40, gosh, hold on. I think it was right here. I think it was around 50 to 60 million or so.
Yeah. And then there's a number, 43 million is Corendine.
46. Here it is on the website.
46 million. Okay. Yeah. Well, no, so the website also includes other small investments. So it's not just the Calders. There's other independent investors as part of that.
I see. Yeah.
Oh, you're near Microsec?
Yes. Yeah, I'm at Port Tressler. So I'll just get in the ship and fly around here until that mission pops up for me.
I need to refuel. Anyway, so the financial report outlines that, specifically there's a note inside the investment report from an auditor, because as part of the reporting in the UK, that you have to actually have a third party look over your financials and provide an audit. So to kind of make sure that everything you're saying makes sense, that you're not, trying to obfuscate or hide anything, just to keep everybody on the up and up. And like I said, the report didn't note anything that they were hiding anything, but they did point out that there was an omission of the Calder investment. This could be a mistake. This could be intentional. I don't want to speculate on why that wasn't part of this report, but it is part of this public report that you can read if you're interested.
You can drop the link in
later
chat.
Later in this same article, the same report, the auditor outlines the shares that are currently owned privately from outside investors, and when those shares can be withdrawn. And the first time those shares can be withdrawn is in 2024, and it's a small amount. It's like 300 and some thousand shares. And in 2025, the majority of them can be withdrawn, like 1,600,000 some shares. And then the total amount of shares retained privately can be withdrawn completely in 2028.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount owed is actually beyond the original investment because there's interest that goes on top of it as part of what, it's an investment. So, they're looking for return on their investment, obviously. So it's not just going to be that they have to pay back the 43 million that they owe. It would be something in the lines of more like around 120 million or more. Yeah, US dollars. And if you look at the financial report, and I believe it outlines this in the report, that the CIG currently doesn't have liquid cash in order to support a full withdrawal of all shares. Now that's a doomsday scenario. So this is the part that could be easily sensationalized. This is not something that typically happens, that a company has all investors suddenly withdraw all their income. This is usually something that happens if somebody was caught embezzling funds or like something really extreme happens. So from my basic layman's knowledge, doomsday scenarios is very unlikely. However, it does mean that CIG aren't operating on a completely pressure-free environment. They do have some obligations to investors, which pushes an internal timeline. One thing that Tomato, you pointed out to me in our private conversation, I thought was an excellent point, is that this is something that they known from the very beginning when they agreed to do the private investment. It's not like it suddenly happened and they suddenly know they have to pay this money back and they don't have it. No. That's not how this works. They knew from the very, very start. And when we all pointed out that they made this choice to have private investment, we all said, hey, they probably are going to want some return on that investment. They're going to have some leverage over CIG at this point to get things done. And we kind of speculated at that point, how would it affect CIG? And we didn't know at the time when those shares could be withdrawn.
Yeah.
We didn't know any of those details.
Yeah,
but now we do. Now we know when they're supposed to be able to be withdrawn. It's this year, next year, and 2028.
It's kind of interesting that at the end of the day, it's the private investment ends up being maybe not something that's dictating the finish date for Squadron 42 at least, but it's something that they planned based on after all this time of like the self-publishing. Not to say I don't think that's a bad turn or anything, but it does show private investment always tries to get in there.
Yeah, it does. So I think that's kind of like the big takeaway is that they probably have had an internal timeline for a long time now for when they needed it to produce some kind of results to satisfy investors.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why Squadron has gone to the polishing phase, this timeline, is probably because of that. Not to say that they suddenly rushed it, because this is the part that I think that's going to be sensationalized by some people, that they must be rushing it out because they want to get it out in time. I don't think that's the case. They have a year to polish it before 2025. They said they were feature complete at the end of last year. A year for polishing seems like a good amount of time to polish and make sure things are working right.
Yeah.
So without knowing too much information about what's going on the inside, obviously I have not played an inside build of Squadron 42, so I can't say for sure. It seems like they're on track to deliver something for 2025.
Yeah.
And so I think, and the other thing I think this really confirms is that they're going to be announcing Squadron 42, its release date or release window at CitizenCon this year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a pretty big tell, the 25 date, even if we didn't have a pretty good idea after that announcement at CitizenCon. Like, Squadron 42, there's a lot riding on that, from their offices that they've built to all their expansion and employees to now this investment. And like all these things definitely point towards Squadron being a big influx of income in the next 2 years. My favorite part of this whole document is when I've been sitting here on this screen, because I think this is like, people are always looking for a reason to believe that this is actually a game. It's a lot of hot takes, replies to tweets and stuff when people are like, but isn't this like some kind of a scheme or something? And you can look at this third-party company that has put out an official statement to the UK government saying straight up here in very plain words that the business is running healthily. They're continuing their objective of delivering a game to its customer base with regular alpha releases and community updates. And it's like, it is very clear that even if it might be struggling with management issues or there might be delays, it's obviously a bit seen as a business and something that's performing properly.
Yeah, certainly. I think that's also important to take out of this. Like, you can't just take the stuff that could be sensationalized out of it. You also have to look at, like I said, the positives in the report as well. To be perfectly fair here, they're saying that the company is fine. That it looks like everybody is the report is truthful, and that the financials make sense, and that they're turning a profit right now. I think the profit in 2022 to 2020, 2022 was how much? Was around 8.5 million or something like that.
Yeah. Pounds.
That's after expenses. So we're talking about net profit.
It's just way up from the year before.
Yep, and that's 2022. So we don't know what 2023 was yet. That's not part of this report. We know from what they published publicly that their income was higher than 2022. They kind of like made up a lot of ground at the end of the year. So that was really good. But it does mean, though, that they do have to keep this momentum up, which I think is another reason why we've started to see so many sales recently. I don't know if you've kind of picked up on that too.
No, haven't noticed at all.
Not at all. Yeah, there've been a lot of sales recently. Actually, I forgot my helmet, so I have to get on my ship and put my helmet on.
Aha. Happens to the best of us.
Like the unexpected F8 Sea Lightning sale and the Mark II sale here. I think that these wouldn't have happened had they not had this pressure. So clearly there are some decisions being made that owe their origins to some amount of pressure.
Yeah.
I think there's no way to look at this and not see that there's something pushing marketing. But
we kind of already knew that, right? Even without this,
we knew that.
Mid last year, we were like, yeah, they're gonna start to push more to make up the money for this year, because you can kind of see their momentum over the 2020 and then 21 and 22. It made sense. Like, again, going back to, I think it was letter for the chairman May 2022. When they introduced we want to have this many new jobs in Manchester, when we just built this studio and we're building this studio, we're moving our people to this studio, and you're like, okay, you guys need a ton of money. It's like, it has always made a bit of sense. Yeah. And the interesting bit is that, like, you look at how much cash, or how much, not even cash, just net worth they have in their assets, and I think it said around 40 million on there. And then, if you asked most people who have heard about Star Citizen and CIG, and you ask them, hey, what do you think the value of the company is in terms of its net assets, they'd probably think it was like over $1 billion or close to $1 billion, just because of the funding numbers.
Yeah, but it's not the case. They've spent as just about as much as they've made, but thankfully they've not spent more than they've made.
Yeah.
Or we'd have a different conversation right now, I think.
That would be rough. If we were at the place that we're at right now,
yeah.
And they were in a cash negative, that'd be really worrying.
Certainly. But yeah, we also, we knew after they acquired Turbulent, we all speculated that there was going to be additional costs in 2023 beyond the year of 2022, so that they would have to have even more income than the previous year, ideally, in order to be able to even break even.
A lot of signs, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of signs that they're feeling financial pressure, which I think is another, actually, it's not a bad thing. Actually, it also tells us a little bit why they're closing the LA studio, which was very recent news from the chairman's letter. I'm sure you've read into that, Tomato.
Yeah,
I just published a video on it, but I'm not sure how much you've covered it yourself.
I went over it on stream. Haven't done any sort of a video or anything, but I thought they were kind of downsizing that studio and keeping some of the operation stuff there.
They're keeping some stuff there. It's not completely closing it, but they're moving a lot of the staff out of there, and the majority of them were asked to move to Manchester, as per what they said in that letter. With the rest of them, a very small amount, and this was stressed by Chris in the letter, a smaller amount being requested to move to Houston, or to move to the Turbulent studio. But it seems like that request to move was kind of another way to lay people off in a more indirect way, is how I interpreted that. So that it wouldn't look so bad that they were directly laying people off. Because my like just as being a normal person and knowing that a lot of developers are normal people, moving across the world for a job is a very difficult ask, especially when it's kind of, even if it's not sudden, even if you have a year in advance notice that this is going to happen, it'd be very difficult to make that decision. So people just leaving, especially, well, I guess Top Happy is not part of that actually, but we know that there were reports of people getting laid off or people saying that they were laid off recently. So now we kind of know why that's happened. And I think that they need to tighten their belt, and that's also why this is happening. It's a financial decision, not just that they were suddenly like, hey, let's get rid of the LA studio.
Yeah, it makes sense, and the company's always been mostly based out of the UK, so LA is pretty far away from there.
It's very interesting. It's a little bit sensational in some ways, it's easy to look at it and say, this could be bad or whatever. But there's actually a lot of really good news. Like the news about them testing server meshing this weekend. Have you heard of that?
Yes. Holy yes, dude. Servers in one system.
Yeah, this is going to be the single most important test Star Citizen has ever done to date. And might top anything they're going to do in the near future unless they do more server meshing testing. So if you guys haven't heard, they're going to be testing server meshing within a single star system, breaking a star system down into different planets and cities and even stations, and seeing how it works, seeing if there are any issues with it. And now they did if you guys don't know, they already did the server meshing test with connecting Pyro and Stanton. I participated in that. I made a video on it. It was really great. I'm not sure if you had any chance to test that out yourself, Tomato.
No.
But hopefully you'll get a chance to do that soon, because I think that test is going to include more people. And I hope more. They kind of need that. They need a lot of people to test it, because there needs to be people stressing it at every end. Is that Evo test today? Well, I'm part of Evo. I didn't notice exactly when the test was, but god dang it, I want to freaking try that.
I think they said Friday or Saturday.
That's what I thought. The public one was about the weekend one. I know there's a 323 test going on. There's a couple ones happening this week testing the standard features of Star Citizen, and that's cool. That's exciting. I'm super excited for 323, but god, is server meshing the single most exciting thing.
Yeah.
It's
hard to know what to be most excited for right now. I mean, obviously server meshing is the biggest, but yeah.
I think so. For server meshing, I think is definitely the most exciting, because if you really think about the 323 features, the vast majority of the 323 features are more like quality of life improvements. Mm-hmm. It's going to make the game feel like a polished experience in some ways. Not always. Obviously, there's not a lot of gameplay loops that we're going to be able to constantly play, as Chris outlined himself, as we're not at 1.0 just yet. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be good. Server meshing is kind of that tech that we need to actually make Star Citizen an MMO. It's the tech that's going to help improve the server frame rate, to increase entity counts, to increase player counts, to increase interactions within the game. There's so many things that server meshing enables. Also new star systems, bigger player battles. There's so many great things that are going to come from server meshing. It really is, if anything is a Jesus tech in Star Citizen, it really is server meshing. Yeah. Working server meshing is the actual Jesus tech.
The actual thing that I remember, man.
The actual thing we've been waiting for.
Back when OCS was coming out, and it was they were everybody was excited for it, but people were also, every time there was a back-end update around that time, everybody would be like, oh yeah, you guys are making it all about Jesus tech again. It's not Jesus tech. It's gonna it's not gonna fix everything. And it's no, of course, but this is the stepping stone to the actual possible Jesus tech. It's only 7 years later.
There were hopes. There were a lot of hopes that it was going to create performance improvements, and it did in some ways. Through the years of these improvements, these steps towards getting towards server meshing, there have been incremental improvements to the game, but ultimately none of them were this sure of a step forward. This is without a doubt a step forward. There's no doubting that going from 100 players, even in the basic Evocati test where they had 2 servers linked between Pyro and Stanton, going to 350, that already is a huge step up from what we have. And that's just like a super basic test with players outside of CIG. It wasn't even meant to stress test how much everything could handle, and we're getting to that now. Now we're getting to it. That is gonna be, oh God, it's gonna be so interesting. The only sad thing is I'm not entirely sure any of that visual experience is gonna be able to be conveyed to you guys. I think it's gonna be all under visual NDA.
Yeah.
But we'll at least be able to talk to you guys about it. For those of you who are part of the Evo Cadi, and like I said, I am Evo Cadi, but I know they're getting more people into it now. So I hope you get a male tomato to get you into Evo Cadi, so you can
That'd be
also
cool.
test.
I've always believed in the testers getting in there, but it would be cool. Give me 1 second. Who are you on my ship? I'll shoot your ass. I don't appreciate people sneaking on board. Sir Piggles, what the heck are you doing here? I almost shot you, Piggles. I found a tag along. You know Piggles from old SC Leaks days?
I do know Pickles, yeah.
I found him stowing away like a dirty little and I think he's joining us. Do you think he can? Yeah, can you?
He's welcome to join. Yeah. I've got one. But did you pass on to me the?
Yeah, you have the party lead.
Okay, we're gonna all meet at Seraphim Station. By the way, I've instructed people to meet at Seraphim because that apparently has a lot of stuff to start from.
Well,
like,
I took
a lot of kit.
I took the mission over here.
Oh, you have the mission.
Yeah, actually, it does look like it's
you
taking
actually
me
have it.
somewhere else.
Where's it taking you?
R-Corp. Holy crap.
Oh, R-Corp. Okay.
That's far.
1 sec. Let me get everybody in the party here.
All right, I'll start making my way over to you guys.
Yeah, but that acceleration from that test at SitCon last year on stage to now is pretty. I mean, relative to the stuff that the progress we've seen, is like moving at light speed.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Breaking the sound barrier.
It's
like that's what it feels like, kind of.
It's crazy because.
But I'm glad that that's the case.
If you jump back to like December, November time when everybody was celebrating all these possible additions, and you also had people who were like, this is still so far away, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. And it was kind of like, yeah, I do think it's going to be still like a few quarters, and you know, it'll be slow moving. And then we're like 3 months later, and just people are server meshing. I mean, it's not live game, but people in Evocati are jumping between star systems. I did not think that was going to be happening in March.
Me neither. I mean, I think nobody did. When it was announced in Evo Cadi, I think everybody in Evo was just as shocked as the rest of the community. And it's great that we can talk about it now, as opposed to being kind of stuck. By the way, are you going to CitizenCon this year, Tomato? I think I asked this question to you before, but I want to ask again. I
don't think so. No.
I can't blame you, man. There's a lot of things that happened to you this year, and you gotta do you.
We got a lot going on this year, so I think it'd be better for us to focus on that stuff for this year and make sure to be there for the release year. That's speculation, by the way. That's not like it's not confirmation.
Speculation. It's well-supported speculation, but speculation nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, if things change, Tomato, I really hope you go. If not, I'm gonna miss you. It was really great hanging out with you at last year's CitizenCon, and this one feels like it's gonna be even bigger. So not having you there is gonna be extra sad. But
yeah, we were very, very excited to do it, and that Manchester position, I think, was it was part of our call, but honestly, with the house stuff that happened, and we had, recovering from that, and then we're also trying to move into a house and furnish that. There's like just a lot more going on that we'd like to put our time towards. But yeah, dude, I freaking loved CitizenCon last year. I would love to go again. That was such a good time.
Yeah, but I'm still leaning through 4.0 at the end of the year, sadly, or at least maybe at CitizenCon. How are you feeling, Tomato? When is your prediction for the release of 4.0?
4.0.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd like to see how the tests go for server meshing this week. But even then, I guess there's not really much knowing. Like, it all depends on the performance of server meshing and how will we be able to speculate on how well it's doing.
True. One thing that was really surprising from the tests, though, that we found out was that there were some systems that weren't yet working with server meshing, and that there's a lot of things that are affected by server meshing. Like, for example, the ownership of missions as you passed over server boundaries, at least in that first play test, wasn't working. So if you went from Stanton to Pyro, you basically would abandon any mission that you had in Stanton. So obviously that's not going to work for a Stanton playtest if that's not fixed. So that could be a barrier among many other potential problems with other features in the game if they're not ready for server meshing. So that's the one thing that makes me feel that it may still take some time, even if on the surface server meshing is working. It could be that there are many systems still that you need to be flushed out and prepared before 4.0 releases.
I could see a 4.0 CitizenCon time launch. That would be so hype, and it'd be perfect timing. But also, maybe August, maybe.
Could be. I mean, there's still a non-impossibility for it to be released at the middle point of this year for summer. And I think that was their target originally anyway.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like server meshing could be a tough nugget to crack. But at the pace they're moving, man, I didn't think we would be testing. I mean, I swear that they said at one point recently that their initial goal would be just to have two servers, Stanton and Pyro. So for them to be testing a breakdown of one system right now is kind of like even more unexpected than their sudden test of Pyro and Stanton connected through a meshed environment.
I think the last letter from the chairman said that they wanted to do 2 servers per each system when they finally got it live.
Oh. Hello, Piggles.
Hello.
And everyone else. I say hello to Piggles. It's been a long time since I've had a chat with him. Hope you've been well, man. And everybody else here who I've regularly hung out with very recently, so there's no need to say a long
hello.
time no see, but no, I'll say hello. It's a courtesy. Hello. All right, now we're done.
Diving for democracy.
We've been doing a lot of Helldivers recently. If you've not played it, it's so... Oh no, I think you said you did get it, didn't you?
I got it. I tried to load in once. The servers didn't let me, and I haven't had... That was like literally right before we moved, and obviously since then...
Oh man.
Been a bit busy.
You now have a plan. We must kidnap him for the democracy.
We do. We've got to get him in
Ganged
for some democracy and freedom.
Luckily, I drink a lot of tea. Just add some liver to it,
It could
and
have
I'm
been
good.
tonight.
I am a big fan of tea. That's good.
Of course you are.
Liberty.
I got some hot hornet gossip, guys.
You got hornet gossip?
Hot hornet gossip.
Hot hornets
Hot
near
hornet
you.
gossip.
All right, and what is that?
Oh, right.
Hornets in your area. So I was going through the data core the other day. I haven't opened up the game files in a long time, but 323 kind of got me interested. Anyway, so I opened up the data core and I was having a look at the Mark II F7A, and they actually increased the nose turret gun sizes from size 2 to size 3 right before they announced the sale, where you could earn the F7A and also the F7C Mark II.
Ooh, interesting.
So it actually got a buff right before they started selling it.
Is that
interesting? I think that's because some people were saying that the acceleration, what have you, on the current flight model with the Mark I is better still than the Mark II. So they may be anticipating such issues. But the other question mark in my mind is, what's 323 going to do to the balance of these ships? Like, they're all going to change. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking from a purely firepower standpoint.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, that's
surely
first.
2 size 4s and 2 size 3s with the potential for another size 3 on the nose is going to be
No, that's
insane.
2 size 3s on the nose.
Woo!
2 size 3s on the nose. Holy
Yeah,
crap!
so 2 size 4s and 4 size 3s in total.
4 size 3s. Wow.
That's kind of insane.
That's
Wow.
the Scorpius is. That's a Scorpius gun armament plus an extra 2 size 4s.
On a much smaller ship, yeah?
Superiority fighter.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be
It's a lot of superiority.
Yeah, I mean, at the
Pretty
moment,
okay.
it shares the same capacitors as the F7C. So when you've actually got all of those loaded, it kind of struggles for fire rate. I mean, you're looking at maybe 15 to 20 shots before you got a regen, but even
Interesting.
then, that's still an absolutely ridiculous amount of alpha damage.
This calls for Senbei.
That calls for using nothing but projectile-based weapons and deleting things.
I was asking if you have been in the game much, or if you've just been sitting back over the last year or two.
Well, in terms of actually playing the game, not a lot. To be honest, I didn't really do that much before anyway. But in terms of modding and tinkering, yeah, I've been working on it. I've been myself and one of the other modders. We've got a community going where have you seen those renders and things people have been putting on Reddit and Spectrum with all the ships and content from the game all nicely done out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my community is looks after a tool that'll automatically extract game assets and put it into like Blender, and you can do what you want with them after that. So that's the current thing. I don't directly work on that, but I try to support and maintain the GitLab where I can. But in terms of personal projects, I've mostly just kind of been tinkering with what I can in the game. I don't particularly want to release things until we have Squadron 42, because there were issues a while ago regarding people modding in live, and I don't want to open up that whole can of worms, really.
Yeah.
Morph, can you wait?
Trying to join.
Yeah, long story short, I am working on stuff. I just don't want to release it until people can use it offline.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just kind of sat on it. I decided I was gonna wait if it wasn't finished and just see if it was gonna come out soon. And
I have
Wait,
to
what was
say,
that?
I'm quite surprised. So that version of said big ship that you got was I think that's mid to late 2018. That particular version. Obviously, it's changed slightly since then, but by and large, I was having a run around. In fact, I pulled the file when they updated the full interior for that event, and I had a look around, and to be honest, it hasn't really changed.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's places that, so when I was telling you about the parts of it that were unfinished, all of the same parts are still exactly the same shape. Like the missile room, for example. You know that bit where the big turret kind of comes out of the deck with the missiles on it. So there is meant to be, whether they'll actually do it or not, but in theory there is meant to be a room that turret lives in for servicing whatever, and there is actually a door for that in the hallway that's just never opens because they never built the room.
Interesting. Well, it's got to be done for squadrons, so at some point they're going to get it done. But I remember they said in the video about it that they had stripped a lot of stuff off of it for the event to get it ready for PU.
So what they were talking about there is specifically for Squadron, there's a lot of set pieces, and you see those videos where they've got kind of clutter around the ship, people walking around going about their day. It's that kind of stuff, and it has in the Squadron version of the ship mountains of extra little points that you can attach things to make it look lived in. Obviously, if you go out and buy the ship in game and in the verse, you don't want to have it covered in clutter, or at least I wouldn't. But that's pretty much what they did. It was a lot of just stripping all that stuff out because it's not needed, and actually, if you don't need it, what's the point in having it? It just creates unnecessary bloat.
No, indeed. I think it's not, and it just gives people a clean slate to start from with their new ships. So.
Sitcon. I didn't see it any earlier than that.
Oh, I don't know. I think they're gonna get it out.
They said 12 months last Sitcon.
Yeah, I think it'll be around that time.
I'm a simple man. I just want Retaliator Gold Standard.
They said, didn't they say they were in the monthly report last month? They were in gray box for the Polaris.
Yeah, on the exterior.
Sitcom one, because they had it white box and they said, "Here's what we have in white box. We're now in grey box," or something along those lines.
They're LOD
they're pretty
0.
far along with the Polaris.
I believe they're.
I don't think they're far enough along.
I believe they're
we have
LOD
the
0
full hull
on the exterior and gray box on the interior.
Yeah,
Okay.
Zeus coming soon.
Is a ship I quite enjoy flying, I think.
I don't own one, so I don't have any skin in that game. But it would be very cool to see it.
I think it's definitely late end of year kind of thing.
You think so? I think it's gonna come. I really do think it's gonna come before that. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it might release. If it doesn't release with 3.23, which is probably crazy ambitious, it'll probably come out with 4.0 if it comes out in the summer.
I mean, they definitely want to have engineering working in it, right? Before it comes to live. I feel like you can't add a
really
capital
ambitious.
ship to the game without having it ready for the capital ship gameplay, They've been waiting all this time.
Right, of course, because they would never add ships into the game. That
I
don't
mean,
have their
that's their
functionalities
excuse
yet.
for
Yeah,
capital
that
ships
never
not being in game, right?
All their data running ships and all the data running stuff's in, isn't it? It's all there.
All there.
No. But again, going back to capital ships, they clearly made a decision after the 890 jump. They said, we're not going to release anymore because there's no point. The gameplay's not there. It would be weird now to release the first capital ship in 8 years to the game in the same year that engineering is coming out, but not have engineering included. That'd be nuts.
It would be weird, but we were talking about financial reports earlier, and that might be a pretty strong incentive, Tomato.
Gross.
We'll see. I know.
No, I could never imagine CIG doing something like that.
Hey, it's a Morphologis. Whoa. What's up, Andy? I didn't know they were gone either, but they will be definitely here with the new cargo update.
And your taxi has arrived.
That much I think we can almost confirm. Don't move a muscle.
At the end
ready.
of this year, guys, Star Citizen is going to be so different than what it is today. It's going to be wow,
Yeah.
It's going to be almost unrecognizable.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
The
pretty
difference
freaking big
between the
change.
Well, like the difference between the 2.6 patch and the 3.0 patch.
Yeah, actually. Although
like-
we did have that cool landing HUD in Flash. That was awesome for ships.
I feel like
during
we've
that
had
time.
a talk at the beginning of every year for the last like 3 years about your feelings about the year, and this is probably sounds like the best you're feeling about it.
I mean, aren't you? Were you feeling as
Oh, yeah.
positive before? Like, I'm like, for me, this is the most positive I felt in a long time.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
The optimism, it's palpable.
It is palpable because I mean, I think it's well justified. I mean, they're
You can
just
see
on the
it.
cusp of so many great steps forward.
Not only can we see it,
and-
we're
and-
playing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Ivacati's playing it at least.
Ibakati's playing it. Yeah. Like this particular patch we're playing right now, still mostly like what you might have played 3-4 years ago if you're playing.
The FPS is definitely better. I'll give it that, but there's still a lot to be desired. I mean, just the
You know,
little
you
tweaks
say-
have been better.
You say that, but there's a little bit of bias there because we as Star Citizen players, especially as content creators, are continually upgrading our PCs.
So room clear.
Oh no, I mean the FPS experience. not like the frames. My frames are much better though because I have gotten to finally upgrade. I've been running on like some older hardware up until just recently. Last year I got to upgrade finally from my 1080 Ti. This year I upgraded from my 10700K processor. So I've only just started to experience Star Citizen in a more normal kind of speed, and I like it.
All right. If this is you said this is a 3 of 5 or a 4 of 5?
It's 4 or 5.
For me, it's 5.
Like,
The assigned
it's
one-
an actual 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You need to. Okay, I can start the mission. Are we all ready?
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 Okay,
I will.
I'm gonna be grabbing a regular key card for this, so just a warning, this could spawn a lot of stuff.
All right. Do we have a SCU box anywhere for loot?
No, we don't.
Shame. We'll have to bring one for the next one.
All right, so you know how this runs. We're gonna need people running around like mad people trying to keep these servers under control. What role do you want to play right now, Tomato?
I can I'll just shoot people.
Do you want to do the pressy button job, or do you want to do
Wait, is that AI?
the running around job?
He's targeting me, so it must be.
No,
Well,
he's muted himself.
definitely AI, yeah. Did I mute myself?
He's
My
running
bad.
around.
I was saying I can shoot people.
All right, you do the shooty bang bang job. All right, I'll do the pressy button job. Sorry, it gives me more time to talk. Demico, by
Yeah.
the way, this patch is
Oh.
particularly good.
This would be a great time for some backpack reloading.
Oh
The
yeah,
Demica's
next
always
patch.
been really good.
What just happened? What? Oh, there we go. Finally. Okay, there's a little bit of a delay.
How do I think they're going to handle reinforcing distribution centers? Do I think the reinforcements will have to traverse from outside
Common.
or make their way in?
Apparently, it's like wasted.
I think it'll be both.
Indeed.
I think it'll be both elevator spawn
well, they
points
buffed
and
it.
ships.
The Demico got buffed and the FS9 got debuffed in 322.
The FS9 got turned into what it should have been.
Players
to
will
begin
probably
with, an actual support
reinforce
weapon
their own
rather
groups
than
from
LMG,
drop
sorry,
ships,
SMG with a bigger mag cap.
landing outside and moving inwards.
I forgot my suppressor, but my compensator. God dang it.
So I guess I will stick to like the bottom
Some of us
floor.
don't need to.
I'll be shooty on the
You got
bottom
them?
floor.
All right, you got bottom floor. All right, guys, make sure you got some quadrants. Maybe 2 up, 2 down, since we got 4 people out there.
Sure. I got Pickles down here with me. Would you like to take a certain side, Pickles?
All right,
don't
we
mind.
got. It's happening. It's happening. Server
I got a code for you.
445. Go ahead.
Good.
90646. So the way this works is I think there's 6 on each floor. So when I was doing this by myself, I just ran circles around each floor and waited for a screen to go blue. As long as you know where they are, you can just kind of work your way around.
Just did
There are
them
a good deal
solo.
of them, though. If
Yeah.
it is possible for 2 or even 3 to go off simultaneously, and that's when things get really hairy. So
Yeah, you kind of that's the point of the loop. You catch all of them as you go around. But yeah, I did the first 3. So
I don't think this is necessarily a test bed for distribution center missions, because those seem like they're the missions that they've already been making, like data heists, which this is the data heist mission. But I do think this might be a test bed for longer term global events that run over weeks rather than running multiple times over the course of days.
Another one. We got 2.
Basically a one-shot global event that takes place for a long time rather than
817.
all at once.
What is it?
817 is 7218.
I got 445s, 4.
You had stopped playing a year ago because the frame rate was so bad. Around 15 to 20. You came back for this patch and you're getting around 40 outside, city side. On your laptop, wow.
I don't want to show you, but
Yeah, the Gen 12 improvements have helped a lot.
like, they've got a lot of really cool special effects.
They got that.
What is
smooth,
that?
didn't they?
Yeah, it's
What?
like it melt. Like you can see it melt, and like there's like cool smoke coming out of it and sparks.
What has special effects?
Yeah, when the
Server
servers
destruction.
explode.
Ah.
No. Got another one overheating.
Looking,
This
I'm
one's 817?
looking. Gotcha. You got a code of 7943. That's 7943.
There we go.
Cracking out the airline pilot voice, are you?
Yeah, please shut the hell up. We're about to land. Thank you.
Thank you, Flying Air Tomato.
Yes.
Oh wait, that's not the right one.
Is this one?
That's out-
Yes.
There it
This
is.
is your pilot speaking.
Did I hear a Mandible Man button?
I don't. Oh,
Mandible Man. Hi there.
Not
Oh
again.
god. Oh god.
Oh, what the hell you doing there, Morpho boy?
We just finished paying off the therapy sessions.
Have to use the button to change your voice, do you? That's a bit of a skill issue.
Mandible Man needs to make his return.
He needs to return for IAE again.
You're going to Citizen Conlo.
This is actually
You,
already
you
a mission
want
that you can get in the Moby Glass. If you work your way up the mercenary missions, I believe, the data heist mission, it is a unlawful mission, but it's the same thing as this, basically. Not quite the same, but you're still doing these hack into mainframe kind of stuff.
No, I got it.
Don't leave them in the elevators. Do they block the other guys?
6330. Wait, what?
Hope the FSR, etc. will get some of the laptop buddies back in the game.
Server performance ain't great right now.
Yeah, FSR should help a lot.
This one's overheating.
Whatever their thing is, TES or whatever.
694 is 397.
You want the armor? Oh, I'm not super connected to the armor right now. We don't even have an SCU box, so I don't. Yeah,
We are nearly. Did we finish that one?
the other players will want the armor.
Oh, not yet.
Is it
It's
like
very
valuable?
slow. No, it's
Oh, I see. Is this Xenothreat armor?
in general recently?
What's up, Gumbo? How's it going?
But I cannot wait for the circuit meshing test. Dear God. Overheating.
Samesies.
Got the code.
Okay.
1042.
Is it trying to tell us something? Squadron 42?
October.
1.0.
CitizenCon.
That's what's happening. Yep, it is 1042. That's it.
I think that's
What's
actually
happening,
10
guys?
pound 42. The YouTuber.
Oh, maybe they're trying to tell us that there's an upcoming performance video being released by 10 pound 42. I'm looking for that.
I've never heard of this guy. I don't know why I'm getting into it.
Can I describe what? Oh yeah, sorry. So you guys can't see what my teammates are doing. They're basically running around looking for screens that pop up with a blue message that tells us a code, and it can be any one of like about 50 screens out there. So that's why they got to keep running around and looking for them when they pop up. Oh,
Just looking for
overheating.
the blue screen to death.
694 is 5599.
Morph, I'm happy to swap if you want to show what the rest
Sure,
is like.
sure. Go ahead. Come on over. Meanwhile, these doors open up, and baddies come out, and
Baddies.
you're supposed to kill them. The Xeno threat. So the lore of this mission is that we are trying to collect data on Xeno threat for an impending invasion of the Stanton system from Pyro. So it's actually connected to the Pyro system. And the Xeno threat guys are kind of like space Nazis, a little bit like that.
Fascists.
Yeah, they're space fascists.
The phrase is
Except,
looking for a xenophobe.
they hate aliens, like actual aliens.
Wait, but
And,
don't they also hate
they-
government? Do fascists hate
Need a
government?
code for server 817.
I'll go
Checking.
downstairs. So yeah, they're bad guys, and we gotta stop them. We gotta stop them unless you like
upstairs.
hating aliens.
Got a code for you, 8806, sorry. That's server 594.
Yeah, Xenothreat is like the
just a different
cartoonish.
I'm still missing one for 817.
I do not have 817. I'll
76862.
Alright, Tomato, what was yours?
8806.
And what was the other one?
For 817, 6862.
Entered.
Confirm.
So these are the screens we're looking for.
Need a
right
code
here.
for 594.
Roger that.
We're looking.
I'm trying to draw him out of the elevator rubble.
Now there's 3 people down here.
Going up.
Got your
I don't
code?
see it down here.
Ready?
Server 594 is 8479.
Entered.
What's up, Kev?
No. The Xenothreat are evil humans who want to kill aliens. They don't think they should be part of the UEE. They think they take up too many resources.
Yeah, they're
That
just
we
like,
should-
hey, UEE, aliens suck. Let us kill them.
So they're basically they don't like the Xeno threat. Like they're called Xeno threat, but they don't like Xenos threatening. I mean, think like Warhammer 40k. You know, like they hate all Xenos. They're all heretics.
Need a code for 694.
Got you, 1130.
They see the Xenos as the threat.
Yes, the Xenos are the threat.
Mission complete.
Hey, look at that.
There we go.
We're done. Good job. Anybody
What's up, Luna
wanna
Maria?
loot
Welcome
some
in.
armor? Go
Welcome
on.
in. CIG is using XT Xenothreat as a scapegoat for their
I
servers.
forgot to recruit my tractor beam.
Those dang servers. I'm not quite sure why we're hacking servers in here to get info on Xenothreat. Like who
Is there a tractor box in here? Or am I gonna
who are the people we're taking this
There
info
might be.
from?
Look for a green box.
Is it the security? Then why aren't they just giving us the info? What is this?
med
Trying to
box
set us
right
up.
there. I'm looking for a green box because I need one too. Actually, I forgot mine.
Now none, but in the future, you think you'll see more group play than not one. Now that once everything is a more polished state with higher player caps. Yeah. Nice stream you got going here. You're the first black streamer you have seen streaming Star Citizen. Hey man, there are quite a few of us. In fact, Ubdi's in the chat here. He's also streaming Star Citizen. Citizen Her, I believe, was streaming Star Citizen. Yo-Yo Meg, Soul Citizens, Griffin, Fast Cart. Captain Sirius Fun, Pops in Space, and the boys at New Soul. We got quite a few black folks streaming Star Citizen, and honestly, just people all over the freaking world. This game has gotten such good reach, despite its size. Signusion, you stream? Hated that CIG don't add audio to this quest line.
I might find a way.
They're just data heist missions. They're just repurposed missions from before with a little lore thrown in. So not too much effort to put together, which is good. You know, reuse some stuff if you can. Is this an P8? Tis. I do love the P8. There's a lot of French too. Oh heck yeah. I think the French is the biggest non-English speaking community in the game. Might be German, but I'm pretty sure it's the French community. Only been playing for about 5 weeks, so could have something to do with it. Hey, no problem, dude. But happy to, yeah, there you go. Mrs. Tomato dropping all the folks in here. Is that Griffin you mentioned? Seen him in my stream before. Yeah, Griffin streams. He is actually the leader of Soul Citizens, which is a large group with a lot of black folks who stream. There's a lot of P8s. I like a group that prefers P8s because that's my gun of choice. Gives me easy loot. But I'm gonna wait till we have an SCU box before I start pulling this stuff.
Sense has been made.
All right, sharing the mission.
But by the way, Tomato, how are you feeling about the character customizer in 323? I haven't talked to you since I remember at CitizenCon. You were super excited to see that info, and now it looks like you're getting that stuff in 323. At least some of it.
Yeah,
not all
well,
of it.
it's looking like more than I kind of was expecting. I thought their first update would be 323 with like some of the stuff. But I'm very excited to see how much of the character customizer is actually coming in 323. I mean, it looks like basically all that they want to do.
It's not everything though. I remember there were some hairstyles and faces that are missing from this. Like, it looks like we're gonna still have the basic faces we have now, just a new blending system and then some additional selections for hair, skin, and facial hair.
Yeah,
that's my read on it.
Can I have
Well, my character is now broke.
Broke or broken?
Yeah, a lot of the hair and skin stuff is just, you know, that more detailed kind of stuff that we just haven't gotten to even think about in Star Citizen before.
Indeed.
And then you can save your character. So you can
the
finally
exporting the
care.
character.
Yeah.
So that way, like, we have continuity between patches, which is something we don't have right now.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a lot for for role players, obviously, but just also having a personal connection to your character. So I'm glad that we're starting to see that kind of development in the game, like an actual MMO feature.
Basically never chose my appearance. I just pick whatever's the default. Now I'll actually choose my appearance.
Why bother, right?
Yeah.
Just give me long hair. I want really long hair.
And I think with like all the customization that's coming in, even with 323, like all the different things you can do with like skin tone and the mixing and the hair color and how you can separate the hair color out, you're gonna really want to save that because you're probably gonna spend a lot of time getting it how you want it, and you're not want to lose that when they do another reset.
Yup.
So
I'm just looking forward to stretching that customizer to its absolute limit.
Oh, you're gonna be one of those.
Everyone's gonna be running around as either a Joker or Shrek, or Nigel Thornberry, and there will be no one else.
Nigel Thornberry.
See, This is, as somebody who enjoys the immersion of a game, this is one of the reasons why I'm thankful they decided to do it the way they've decided to do it.
Yeah, they've kind of
Having
kept it
played
within
the-
constraints, like real.
Yeah,
looking.
there are reasonable constraints. You can still get some interesting looking characters, but they're not going to be like Nigel Thornberry or something.
You say that, Morph, but you forget. We are the internet player base. We will find a way.
Maybe they
I spend 23 hours a day breaking things.
maybe they scanned in Nigel Thornberry's face.
Smash.
Oh,
Mm.
smash.
Oh, we did a thing the other day. We grabbed a load of the Squadron 42 characters and ported their head information onto our Star Citizen characters. So I had I was playing, my head was just Mark Strong.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's a good one.
This is a really interesting question. I'm sorry, it's a little off subject, but I think you might be able to fill in some information here too. Tomato. This is going to be something that I think would be worth talking about. The customer, the creator in context. Sorry, the character creator in context of other games, is adjusting your body type by like say 20%.
Mm-hmm.
They had actually talked about this in the past and why that's not the case. If I remember correctly, the reason why they've not done it is because they would have to make custom rigs for like every seat in the game, like every ship in the game, like all 200 of them, and like all the animations and everything. They would have to modify every single animation in the game to make different size bodies.
Yeah.
Don't forget the armor.
Yeah.
And the armor too.
The
Yeah, the armor is another big problem.
The pilot seats, the hit boxes for shooting, oh my gosh, so much.
Not to mention people would start making dwarves because smaller hitbox.
Yeah. Yeah, and like all the ships would be, it'd be weird. No, everybody
There
is
are ways
just
of wearing that programmatically, animation-wise. You can do. There's a technique where you can set essentially points on a character model and also where you want an animation to hit, and the game will essentially fill in the blanks and sort of interpolate that animation to fit any shape. Unfortunately, that does also result in rather jank animations, but it does work. Then I understandably I get why they don't want to do that.
I do think it's also the clothing and armor, though. I think that's another big problem that's been highlighted.
But my
that'd
fidelity.
be a lot harder to scale correctly.
Or if I eat so many Benny's noodles and they don't reflect that when I'm sitting around doing my space trucking for a couple months, I want to put out a bit of a belly, you know?
I will say this though, if they do want to claim the crown of being the best character creator in the industry, I do think that they would have to do something like that at some point in the future. But for this like 1.0 goal release, I don't think it's necessary. Gameplay is more important.
It sounds like I almost said Desert Storm Online. Black Desert Online is what people generally say is the go-to character customizer in the industry. Because I don't know, man. I look at how do you decide what makes a good character customizer?
I mean, being able to
Intuitivity,
personalize it. I think it's about being able to customize it to a character that envisions your image of a character. And part of that should include basic human attributes that might be desirable. So like height, weight, body shape, skin, hair, eyes, like all those things. They should I think the best character creator would have the ability to toggle and change all of those parameters.
I mean,
Not just a limited number.
The ones I've seen that does it really well. The one I've seen that does it really well is the modded Red Dead one.
Mm-hmm.
So Red Dead has a modding scene. Anyway,
Coffee and noodle interaction.
They have a very, very good character creator. You can shorten things, make them taller.
I at least want to be able to make my booty look
size,
better in the game. Holy crap.
Concentration,
This
etc.
freaking flat ass.
It's to a stupid level of you can
Where
basically
is
make
it?
look like whatever you want.
Where's that butt? Where's that tomato butt?
More for you.
Look at
again,
that.
Seraphin.
Yeah, I will, but I need.
I'm trying to represent myself. Come on.
and get my-
What are you talking about? What?
Okay, I never thought they would sell the F8 or the Mark II.
But
they
the
just said they
Bengal?
weren't going to sell the F8, and they did. And no, we never thought they were going to sell the Mark II, and they did. I think they'll sell the Bengal.
Well, they always said they were going to sell the Mark II. They never said they were going to sell the F7A.
I mean, if they ever did sell the Bengal, they'd have to sell it in parts.
Yeah, that would be
Get the
crazy
Bengal
if they sold the
starboard
Bengal.
engine.
Maybe it'll be there'll be a caveat to it, like it won't have any modules or something.
Even then, it's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
they'd have to stick to the idea that the Bengal can't despawn if they're going to do that. But again, then they can't sell that. I don't think that would be reasonable to have that be linked to money. Because this ship's too big.
As far as I,
You can't be able to just store that.
As far as I know, the current idea with the Bengal, obviously subject to change, is that there are a certain amount. And you can control a Bengal, but you can't own a Bengal.
Yeah.
And you could find one, you could find a derelict one, you could steal one off an org, but yeah, you can never own a Bengal, you can only control one.
God,
Oh,
I hope
I-
it stays
Types
that
of
way.
Bengals.
I know that was the idea.
There are multiple types of Bengals. There's the Bengal carrier that we all know, and then there's the battle Bengal, which has massive turrets on it.
The Battle Bengal, there's what I want to say is almost a light variant of the Bengal carrier, because it's got no, it's got, like, not got the front hammer, if you get what I mean, on the bow.
But it's got a bunch of battleship cannons.
I'm saying that, yeah, but there's a variant of the carrier variant without, like, the nose on it, if you get what I mean.
Remember how some people were saying that the Star Engine thing felt a little bit like an investor presentation?
Because it
It
probably
definitely
was.
Because
Hell
It was,
yeah.
I think
it was a slap in the face to Bethesda. That's what
it
that
was.
was.
I mean, it was. I mean, that's what you. I mean, they're one and the same.
One way to interpret
if
it, yeah.
impresses, if it kind of like shows off and says,
love
that,
it.
look how good we are, it simultaneously makes investors happy. So
And it was a product launch too. I mean, they finally, for the first time, were able to call it Star Engine publicly. That must have felt so
And-
dang good.
And to reiterate something that I've repeated several times, because I don't want this to turn into some sensationalized news because we talked about it and people are taking it the wrong way. This is not something new that they didn't know about.
Wait,
When they started the
contact
investment, they knew from the beginning.
Oh,
like.
where's my action
Ow.
music?
You also got to take into account that that is something that they can also sell. That engine. Well, not sell. Lease out.
I need to pick up one of these guns and possibly armor from one of these people.
Yeah, I just
Don't
did that
wear
because
that
I
armor.
realized I didn't buy any ammo. So I've got only 30 rounds in my cast deck.
Hey,
What'd you
if
say
get
about the
chance,
armor?
Pick up the P8.
Don't worry. you'll get
Don't
shot.
wear
Oh,
until we're done.
I need
'Cause
armor.
Just
if
stay in the
Patty Mark's
mainframe
right
room.
out, you'll get shot.
They
No.
should be fine wearing the armor. Everyone that's friendly should have an arrow above their head.
Yeah,
There's no
but
bugs there, aren't?
We're a
Not
little
everyone in
loose
my
with the
screen
trigger
has an
finger
arrow.
here, Piggles.
The because the party markers, they always work.
Well, they're not party markers.
it's a
that's
star
separate
system. It never fails.
Sure.
Yeah, so those little carrots above the head, they're a separate system to the party markers, and they will display pretty reliably because they're based on crime stat and hostility and all that kind of stuff.
Excellent.
If it shoots at me, I'm killing it. You can do with that information what you will.
The issue is that
Out of Tiger Claws.
it's 40. The investments totaled 43 million, and then some 17 million later, and that
found
plus
the
interest
engineer.
is over 120 million. if
Uh,
they were
don't
to
use the
withdraw
fund.
other shares, and they don't have that much in liquid cash.
Server maintenance.
Yeah, I don't know about them licensing it out. I think that'd be pretty big
But again,
to
that
do,
recognition
and they'd want to be
is like-
probably pretty hands-on with whatever it gets licensed out to. This is a super custom-made engine for a lot of things, and the more they try and develop on the engine and build that infrastructure and even build like literature and guides to help other developers understand how to use this engine, the more time it takes away from Star Citizen and Squadron's development and any of their future projects, which might not be super important to most people, but to the company it could be make or break in either direction. Yeah, documentation. That stuff's not fun. They'll have to have documentation anyways for their own company, and I think they do, as they talked about it a bit, but doing it for third-party companies that work under different rules in different countries and all that stuff, that gets hefty. Not speaking from experience.
Did
What
anyone
are they
put
gonna
a
do?
card into the machine yet? No?
Yes, I think so. I put
It's
Titan
locked.
on accident.
It's locked.
Put it in.
We need a new card.
We need to find a box with a card in it because I died and I lost everything. So
Have another
Big
Tiger
tech.
Claw.
They
Oh,
were
engineer,
they were
look for the
back-end
engineer.
groups.
There's one
Oh
dead.
my
Solid.
gosh.
I have a Tiger Claw on me.
That's terrible.
Do we want to use the
Astroneer
front
on
line?
Star Engine would be pretty
Well,
cool.
if we want to get the armor,
That's
we
such
should
a
use the
peaceful
Titan,
game.
like you said. So, time to pew pew.
Doors and corners.
Shoot and they'll come out the door, and then you can kill them and kill their armor if you want it. Got to attack them once, and they'll come out the door.
Apparently,
Leave him. Oh, I was gonna loot his armor. Okay.
a two-dimensional attack is more scary than a black hole.
I think there's...
Maybe.
Did I
don't
kill
know.
him in
a
the-
black hole is a singularity, collapsing space into one dimension.
Oh.
So that's also scary. They're both
That's pretty scary, to be honest.
They're both
But a
scary.
2D.
Man, this would be so cool if it was a Star Wars MMO. Oh! Ah! No! No, please! No! Help. Help, I don't know. I'm
More people
stuck.
contact your rear.
Hey,
Are
y'all.
you stuck,
Oh,
Tomato?
oh dear.
I don't...
Oh no, Tomato, you're kind of screwed.
If we can knock him down, I've got a tractor beam. I can get him out.
Heavy's dead. And body is secure.
Heavy.
Dude,
don't have to-
I have a medical tool. I could try to drug him to knock him out,
Oh boy.
but you're gonna be
Or you
gonna be
can
drugged
shoot
for a
me.
while.
Get your head.
You
No,
just...
but I might actually kill you.
Can
Alright, get ready with your
oh.
tractor beam. If once he's passes out from drugging, he's gonna fall.
Oh no, my gun! Oh, I just took damage.
Right, tractor beam's ready.
Okay.
Oh, I'm out.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, you get him. You get him. You got him.
Nice rescue.
Yes.
International rescue. I've got the heavy
team.
corpse over
Morphologis.
here. If
Oh,
if we've
man.
got two if we got two heavies, do you mind if I take this one?
Yep. We've got a server meltdown.
Thank you all.
It is server
667.
667.
We gotta look for a server. Run. Get your armor.
Star Citizen,
I-
folks.
I'll
Good
let
for
you
you.
deal with this, OD. I'll cover.
Go.
2487.
There's the
Alright, what's the
Nice.
code again? Sorry, what's the code again?
7282.
Got it.
If you kill him, you'll get locked in there.
Grabbing,
out. Go. I've got it. Just get out.
getting out.
Those things are death traps.
Journey for Karna.
That is. Oh, should be placing in a second. There we go. Placed at my feet. Oh, you're
Code.
kidding. That thing is.
Code.
Thank you.
594 is 6767.
No, it just seems like a good run to figure out how mission chains will function and how people access them. The interesting part is just that all these things, these global events they run, from Siege of Orison to like even the Idris event earlier this year, they're all running in a game that's not really what the game's supposed to be. So like, if you run the Idris mission and it's supposed to work in that maybe 20 people out of the server are actually interested in finding it, and so it's not a big deal to miss it, that makes sense when there's a ton of other stuff to do. But when there's nothing else to do, everybody focuses just on the event, and it makes it seem a lot worse than it is. Does that make sense?
It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
Checking.
Checking.
I think ultimately the issue has been up until now that their focus on Squadron 42 has meant that their resources on Star Citizen have been too
Got
little.
a code for you.
Give people
5993.
give people things to do, new things to do every patch.
Yeah.
That keep people interested for long periods of time. There's not really that big of a library right now of activities or events
Mhm.
or mission types.
Yeah, it's not enough
But
distractions.
hopefully, not enough distractions. Now, Squadron, they're reforming of teams from Squadron into Star Citizen and bringing everybody back to Star Citizen is going to, I think, bring a lot of acceleration to development. But we're not going to see that for some time. 323 is just the product of moving stuff over from Squadrons, so it almost doesn't even really count. It's just stuff that's been ported and adjusted for Star Citizen. We're really going to start seeing an acceleration, though, I think, hopefully after 323, and that's when the teams are more kind of situated and focused on Star Citizen content. As you guys probably famously already know, I worked in game development for a year on a ship team with former CIG guys. Yeah. Oh, Pickles, maybe you didn't hear about that. I don't know, maybe you did.
Your server code 817.
You worked in game dev?
I did for a year, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I got
Oh,
you.
you didn't know that,
With the
okay.
code 817, code is 3129.
So the Banu Merchantman stopped working. The progress stopped because that team left CIG and they went to work for Star Atlas. And I went to go work with Star Atlas for a year and worked with those guys doing some ships. And so I got to learn quite a bit about development and how that works on the inside of things. And it was really enlightening, actually. I learned a lot. I was really, really grateful to be part of that. Anyway, my experience was very much since it's very typical structure of a team, and I don't think I'm revealing too much, but like when you're working on a certain part of a project, like say you're on the ship team, there's no need for you really to talk too much to the other teams because you're focused on developing your ships. So you get this effect where you don't always know what the other part of the team is doing. So I think sometimes when people are playing, when they talk to devs,
code is 7254.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
When they
That's fine.
when people hear like that a developer doesn't play the game or that a developer doesn't know that this other thing is happening in the studio, they're shocked. Actually, that's not surprising at all. It's very common. So the siloing, unfortunately, creates this effect where you don't always know what everybody else is doing. So like working together to do towards a common goal can sometimes be difficult, especially when one team that you're being held up by is not somebody that you often communicate with. So maybe that one team's working on a piece of tech that you need for your project. And it can be complicated
server meshing team.
to coordinate with them to get things done. Yeah. So like having everybody form into bigger teams, I think makes a lot of sense. It'll be, there are downsides to that, I would imagine. Though, I mean, that they'll have to be managed when you've got a lot of people working together. There's a lot of cross communication that can be noisy. So there's going to have to be some control of that, but I think overall it could be good. Highly specialized strike teams might not be super beneficial. I think we've seen, unfortunately, the downside of that approach for CIG is that
Is the mission done?
comes out in
Yes.
V0.
Yeah, mission's over.
Are we done?
Yeah,
Well, we're
didn't
done.
interrupt.
I can shed some like that in terms of generic software development as well. It's a relatively common thing, not just in games, especially with larger project, where when you go to use begin a project, you will sit down and you'll have essentially a meeting and you'll go, okay, what are the issues we have, and you'll break that down, and eventually you'll break it down into so many smaller issues within issues that you have essentially what becomes a to-do list. And you will usually not always the case, but usually you'll allocate teams on certain things, so a team will know what they're doing and they don't really care what other people are doing unless they need to directly talk to it. And even then, largely there is an established standard. So for example, if I was making a game system that had to talk to another game system, there would be already an established way of communicating. So both my system and the other system would meet that standard. So without even having to talk to the other team, we both would already know that both of our systems would work together. And that's something you get quite a lot in game development, where because a lot of these features are so complex, you really have to sort of dig down and focus on your bit and just kind of have to trust that whoever you're relying on is also doing their bit.
Mm-hmm. That's always fun. I wonder when we'll truly stop seeing wipes. I know it's with 1.0, but if that's 2 to 3 years away, I do wonder if by the time they're hitting maybe stable server meshing, they try to just not do any more until the game launches something.
As far as I know, the current The current 1.0 goal, which in my opinion is incredibly optimistic, is Q1 25.
A what?
Yeah.
Yeah, physics.
That's a tentative goal, which honestly I think that is incredibly
See,
optimistic, and
yeah.
I don't think they'll hit that at all. But
That's got to be the
that's-
date.
someone said that at some point, and it's been written down somewhere. But
Are we hoping for world peace as well at that point?
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, to be honest,
Wait,
I
there's
don't
no
think they're
way
really
that that's
actually aiming for that.
There's no way
I
they
don't think
released
they're really actually aiming for that, but that is something that someone put on a roadmap.
like publicly.
That might have been an internal.
Ooh.
That might have been an internal goal from a while ago, back when the Colors investment was first taken, because that's when they would have set the date, right? Because that lines up with their 2025 85% investment withdrawal. That'd be my guess anyway. But I don't think I think that's an old thing, and it probably isn't necessary if the Squadron comes out, because that would probably satisfy investors at least initially.
It would be good to
So they
have
gotta-
SC at a 1.0 state.
Really care as
for
long as
Squadron.
they're seeing something happening and they're getting something for their money.
Yeah, if they're seeing progress being made on the game, irrelevant of whether it's out, if it's held for this long, I think they can wait a year.
They don't
Yeah,
have to
but
though.
I don't
My
see release.
anything can happen. You could see that the past 2 years has been it was declining at that trajectory at the end of 2023, and they had to up the ante with some more unexpected sales to try to cover that ground, and it's happening again this year. I think they'd be a little bit worried.
Investors need to wake up to the fact that COVID's over, so you're gonna see a little shrink. You should have done
Yeah.
it before COVID, not after.
I think the biggest thing is just that the economy is not a sure thing in any way, shape, or form. All countries are dealing with a lot of different, well, not all, but most countries are dealing with a lot of economic instability and just like not a lot of future confidence. That on its own, I think, makes things a little bit more complicated than if it was, say, 2017. But I also feel like that's an internal date. Like, I could see them doing an internal date of that, and then their actual date of making it happen is like the end of the year or the beginning of the next year. But Q1 of 25 sounds crazy.
Crazy ambitious, yeah. We had a very Star Citizen evening.
Oh, yeah.
I thank you for joining me on this predictably fun journey
Yeah,
of,
dude.
of
Bugs
fun
and various
interstitched
other.
with nonsense.
It's good times, dude. This was good discussion, too. Thank you, everybody, for coming along and joining. Morph, this is great. I look forward to more of these, man, with our stream times matching up a little bit more. Once new content comes out, I'd love to check it out with you.